Hey neighbor, I felt that little bit of coolness in the air this morning. Did you feel that?
I did. Super exciting.
I've been waiting on that.
Me too.
It's that one morning in late summer, early fall when you walk outside and you feel that just a hint of fall in the air. It was this morning. And I've been waiting on that one. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. All right, folks, today we're talking about onions. It's getting to be fall. I mean, here we are, the end of August, and it's that time. A lot of people concerned about when and how to plant onions. We're going to dig into that today, just nail all the details of how you can start your own onion plants. But you've been busy in the garden.
I have, and I got something super excited to show that we've been kind of trialing with in the garden. We carry these varieties, but we've been running them behind our corn in succession, and it's our ProCuts. Now this one right here, this beautiful.
Let me hold it for you while you talk about it.
Okay. So this one right here is the Horizon, and it's your typical, it's your deep, rich, vibrant orange with your dark center disc. But what's so special about these flowers is they're the premier standard for cut flowers when it comes to sunflowers. They have uniform stems, a great uniform flower, and we've just been trying to see how they can handle following corn.
Adverse conditions.
Adverse conditions.
One thing we did here is we didn't fertilize these.
We did not.
So the sunflowers are really good scavengers, so we wanted to put them behind the corn and see how they scavenged and how they did, and it was interesting, the results.
It was. They did pretty well, but a few things that we noticed is we saw some branching, and what we think that was is maybe the plants got a little too stressed to begin with, maybe missed a watering when we shouldn't have, and it caused them to branch out a little bit, which is unusual, right?
It is unusual. Well, we had a bad heat spell to come through here. It lasted about 7 days, where it was horrible.
Yep.
High heat, dry, and these plants stressed when they was early on. Of course, we tried to water best we could, but they did stress.
They did.
So, you hear Maggie?
I do. She's over there whining. She's looking for us.
They stressed, and I talked to the breeder yesterday on the phone. I called the breeder, and I was having a discussion. And he told me that these single stem cut flowers, such as these ProCuts right here, and you see how strong a stem that is on it? That's what makes these things so wonderful. They have such a strong stem. He mentioned to me, and this is something I didn't know, if these things stress early on, they will do some branching. Now, it's not to the extent a regular branching type sunflower will do, but they will do what they call suckering or branching. That's one. And we seen that out yesterday morning. We said, man, what's going on?
Yeah, we had to get in touch and figure out what the problem was.
So that's what it was. Now, these only got about waist high.
They did. About 3-4 foot tall.
Yeah. And one thing that he told me on the phone was, even though they branch, you still get that wonderful stem there. Yeah. He says that we actually have some cut flower farmers that stress these on purpose to get that sucker. And they'll do, after they cut that main stem, they'll cut the suckers off, or the branch ones off, the little bitty sunflowers, and sell those.
Huh, that's interesting.
He said he had one grow, and I'm assuming he says they're located in California. He said it wasn't far from them, so it's a cut flower farmer in California that actually tries to do this every time he plants them.
I've heard a little about that, and how when you cut those suckers off, typically when you're cutting sunflowers for cut flowers, you want to cut them before they bloom, right? Or right as they're going to bloom.
Yeah.
Vase life.
Now
it extends that vase life.
The weird thing about this versus your regular branching sunflowers is the timing.
It is, yeah.
So this main stem will develop out so that you can cut this before the branching ones develop out. So you get that delayed reaction, so you can cut and cut them. Where the regular branching sunflower, they all pretty much come due at the same time. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Beautiful varieties
it is.
Right here.
We have a few more. Do you want to show those? So that's just the Horizon. That's your typical deep orange with your black disc. And right here,
this is my favorite.
This is our Gold Light. This is one of my favorites too. I get a little tired of that black disc sometimes, so I like to switch it up, and this is perfect for that. You get that greenish gold center, still just a strong, sturdy stem with a uniform flower, and that rich orange petal.
Now, you see the size of this head right here. that is a preferred head for most cut flower farmers. They don't like the real big ones. If you want a real big head, what you can do is you can space these out like 1 foot in your in-row space and give them plenty of room to grow. Make sure they got plenty of water and fertilize them well. And you're going to get a bigger head than what we got off these right here. You're going to get a bigger plant, but you're going to get a bigger head.
Yeah.
A lot of that is not desirable. A lot of times they want that smaller head there. You can do that 2 different ways. You can plant them real close together. You can kind of crowd the row there and get a smaller head, or you can stress that plant and get a smaller plant and get a smaller head.
And we can kind of see the change in size with these next two, and these weren't branching like those two were.
They didn't
got the white
stress
knife.
quite as much. Yeah.
They did not.
You know, this is one of the most popular sunflowers because of the color. It's not my favorite, but it is one of the most popular ones.
Yeah, and it's kind of popular why due to its unique color, and you don't typically think of your sunflowers being white or red or those unique colors. But I really like the buttery, creamy texture of these petals.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it one of my favorites in the line. Lastly, we have, let's see if I can find the good one. This is the White Light. It also has the creamy, buttery, kind of vanilla colored petals, but this one, just like the Gold Light, has the greenish gold center. And they pair well together. I thought it'd be good to grow those two together just because of how well they play with each other.
Man, we got a beautiful plot of sunflowers.
We do have a beautiful plot of sunflowers out there.
Now, one problem with these lighter color sunflowers lights are here, these whites seem to fade out a little bit quicker than some of the rest of them, but it is a very unique color. That's my second favorite one.
I don't know about me. I really like, I just stick with the orange.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
Yeah,
I can't go wrong with
and
the
orange is the most popular by all means. So Mama Hoss is out today, and Evan is filling in, which is you're a good feeling.
Yeah, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Mama Hoss is having some problems with her ankle. She got an infection in it. She had to go in the hospital and have a little surgery done. So she's mending back from that. Maybe she'll get over it pretty quick. And so keep her in your prayers and your thoughts if you would. She's got a few weeks of IV antibiotics to take. So she's on the mend from there. And let me tell you something. She is, the biggest thing on her mind is her garden.
Yeah. She texted me at 2:30 in the morning and said, I'm having some trouble. I'm going to need you to get out there and take care of my garden.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah, she's been concerned about her garden. She's got some hollyhocks that needs to be planted.
Yeah, she does.
So she's really concerned. Of all things, she's concerned about her garden. So anyway, all right, so let's get into planting onions. A lot of people on the forums, and I monitor a lot of the forums on the internet, the gardening forums. I say forums, on Facebook. A lot of them are really talking about onions. Now, you've not been here through an onion growing season.
I have not. I came in right towards the end of growing season.
Well, you got in on the harvest.
I did get in on the harvest.
Onions are one of the most popular things for the home gardener to grow.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. People love to grow onions because you grow it in a weird time of the year. You grow them for us, it's in the fall, winter, but other people grow them in the spring and early summer, you guys up north there. But people love to grow onions, and they're easy to grow if you grow the right variety at the right time and you follow the fertility instructions.
Exactly. You have to nail those things.
You have to nail those things. We're going to be talking about short days today because it's getting time to plant your short days. We're not going to be talking a lot about intermediate and long days because those are coming up later on. Now, we're going to throw up a map right here showing our map of our short day, intermediate day, and long day. There is a little bit of overlap. So we changed our map recently. And they are an area there that you'll see that can go either way. It's a court. It's all right. But there's no such thing as a straight line where in this county you got to grow short days, in this county you got to grow intermediate day. It kind of bleeds through there. It's according to what kind of winter you have, what kind of weather you have.
Exactly.
So they are an area there that we kind of changed the color on to let you know you can do both. North Georgia, Tennessee border is exactly that. You can grow short day or intermediate day there. You just need to change your plant date to accommodate that. What we do here in the deep south, and we're in the deep south, an hour above Tallahassee, Florida, zone 9A, we plant short day onions. Now, short day onions come in two different things. They come in Grand X and Grand O. Grand X are the this is the way I remember this. The X on the end of is a flat onion.
Flat onion.
And the grand O being at the end, the grand
Yeah.
O is a round globe type onion. We grow both of those, as is the intermediate day and the long day. But it's time in September to start your seeds. That being said, we grow a lot of onion plants, and we're growing onion plants this year, probably about 10 acres of onion plants. We're growing short day, intermediate, and long day. So this is our plan. Come the 1st of November all the way to the 1st of May, we hope to have onion plants available for everybody through that period. That being said, you want to plant your own, that's what we're going to get in today. How do you plant your own onions? Now, why would you want to plant your own onions? 2 different reasons. One is to have them come to you when you want them to. And onions is one of those weird things that's really forgiving. When they're ready to be pulled, you can keep them for several different weeks in the tray there just by keeping them watered and just not letting them dry out. They'll keep fine in a tray. Your bare root ones, not quite so much. But if you don't really know your schedule, you can grow your own plants and you can hold them a lot better. Second reason why is variety. A lot of these newer varieties are a lot better onion than our older varieties. Now, on our onion plant sales, we're going to carry the Texas 1015 like we did last year.
Infamous, very famous.
Good famous one come out of Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken.
Great breeding program.
We're also going to carry Texas Early White, because some of you have let us know you want a white onion, and we're carrying by door. That being said, I think there are better onions out there than 1015 and Texas Early White. They have some newer varieties out there. They just don't have the name recognition. They don't sell as well as plants. So we're growing the ones that people love to grow because they've been growing forever. But you may want to plant one of these newer varieties that do extremely well. And to do that, you need to grow your own plants. See this one right here?
So what are we going to be planting today?
We're going to be planting plethora today. Plethora is one of those short day, and it is a by day approved variety right here. And I've grown plethora before. Plethora is not quite as early as Vidora. Vidora is the earliest onion. It's going to come up before any of them. You remember last year our Vidoras, what was it, 2 weeks when our 1015s come off after that?
Yeah, it was exactly 2 weeks after our Vidoras that we pulled our 1015s.
And our red Sapphire was about the time our...
Around the same time, maybe a week after. We pulled those a little after the 1015s.
Oh, we did?
We
Okay.
did, yeah.
So Vidora is the earliest one. Plethora is going to be about the same time span as that 1015. It's going to be about 2 weeks after Vidora. But here's the thing about plethora is that Grant X type. It's that flat
it's
type.
flat.
Sweet onion, good onion. This thing's huge.
It is.
One of the biggest onions I have grown is plethora. So if you love those jumbo onions, plethora is a definitely good variety, and we're going to be planting that today. So how do you want to grow your onion plants? 3 or 4 different ways. Number one is you can take you a tray like I got right here, and we're going to plant some today. And this tray has no cells in it. It's just a straight tray. And the reason I want to do this is on kind of somebody may not have exactly what they think. We're going to go the ideal way, and they won't go this way. Somebody may not have the ideal way to plant something, but if you got a tray, a fairly deep tray like this right here, and it's got holes in it, this will work, okay? So we're going to go over that, but then we're going to talk about the ideal way. The ideal way for you to grow your own onion stalks is what we call a 338 tray. Yeah, that's a lot of plants. I know it is. But this is the tray all your onion breeders grow their trial varieties in right here. And the reason they do that is they can singulate the seeds in there and they can grow out a good plug. When we grow out plants in these trays that we broadcast in, or these or raised beds or containers or anything like that we don't have these cells, we have to pull them bare root and plant them.
Yeah, and that could really damage the root system, which they will they bounce back?
Yes.
Yes, they should bounce back, but it will damage and slow that growth.
So when you grow them in this tray here, you can actually save the whole plug and pull it out. You have less transplant shot there, and then you have a lot more time, wiggle room, as far as the time you have to pull these out. These things can stay 4 weeks past due easily by just cutting the water back a little bit and cutting the fertility back. But this is the ideal way to do it. Just your average seed starting mix will work. Fill these trays up here, put your little dimple in there, plant your seeds and cover them with your pot and your seed mix or perlite, either one. Keep them nice and wet, and that's the way they'll grow wonderful. So if you have this right here and you want to grow 338 or more plants, this is the ideal day because you get less transplant shock when you pull these out if you grow them in. Now these downside.
And what is that?
And I figured this out a few years ago because we grew a bunch of these in our first year growing onion plants. We grew these in a commercial greenhouse in 338 trays.
Okay.
They don't bulb up very well. For some reason, I don't know why, and I've talked to several people about this right here, this growing onions for a long period of time. You won't get a real big size bulb in these trays.
And so is that something you're looking for when you're growing from seed in a tray like this?
It is when we're shipping them because we have to pull them bare root and we ship them. We want a decent sized bulb. So it doesn't work well to ship plants that are grown in a tray because you don't get a very big sized bulb. Now that being said, for the home gardener, that's not going to have that delay of time when he pulls it till he puts it into the ground. And plus it's a plug.
It is.
It's going to be fine. You're not going to get very little transplant shot and you're going to be okay. But it doesn't work well for shipping because they just will not bulb up. They bulb up a lot better in the ground than they do in a tray. But it still works wonderful, and that's the reason all of your trialing is done with these trays right here because they're doing short runs of different varieties and they want things they can control. So that's the best way to do it. Now, if you got a raised bed, I did this one time. I had a 2x2 raised bed, a little small one, and I planted them in there. Wonderful.
Direct seeded?
Direct seeded them and pulled them up when it got time. Yeah. It doesn't take a very big area to grow a lot of onion plants there. So raised beds, even containers work. Root pouches.
Yep.
That'll work fine too. You just going to have to pull bare root and pull them up. So we're going to plant these right here today. And what I want you to do is kind of cut this out. You know how we do when we shake and kind of. Now these 250 seeds per pack. Let's see how far one goes. One tray should pretty much cover this right here. And I got some soil down here to cover them up. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk about planting dates.
All right.
So us as professional growers, we figure on 6 weeks. We can grow an onion plant from seeding to pull that transplant in 6 weeks because we pretty much control all the aspects of it and we do it exactly right. So can you grow an onion plant in 6 weeks? Yes, that's what I normally tell people. However, if you're not used to growing these and maybe you don't keep a good fertility schedule or maybe you just life happens and you have to go on vacation or whatever, it can stretch out to 8 to 10 weeks. And we always like to plant our onions in November because this is the ideal time. Now, if you miss November, can you plant December, January, and maybe even 1st February? Yes. You may not get as big an onion if you plant it in November. So November is our prime time. Even the end of November is our prime time to plant these short day onions. Was that a good coverage?
It was a pretty good coverage, I think so.
All right. So for the home garden, if you're going to grow your own plants, anytime in September is a wonderful time to plant yours. We're going to plant our first planting of our commercial run September the 15th, and then we're going to, every 2 weeks, we'll plant another planting after that to make sure we have a continuous supply. But just think about that. Any time in the month of September is going to give you 6 to 8 weeks to grow these plants off so that you can plant them in November. Onion plants are fairly small, kind of inconsistent in size as we see right here.
Yeah.
So we're just going to press these in a little bit, just like that. I pre-wet this tray earlier this morning because I like to do that because this stuff can get a little.
It will, and you don't want those dry pockets.
Yeah, it's hard to. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to wet.
It can be. And
you don't want to be splashing your seeds out. Now, after you get it, you would do the same thing in the tray. Just take you a little bit of pot soil. Now this is dry here and kind of cover it up. You
just want to lightly cover it.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I ate the quarter inches of planting.
Well, yeah, you look at how small those seeds are, and you really want to make sure you're not planting them too deep.
What is we did a first grader thing the other day, and I was going to tell them, you know, everybody, which had 87 first graders that I talked to for an hour about seed starting. But everybody wants to know, how deep do you plant seeds? Well, this is normal. On seed starting, this is a normal, good stretch to go with. However big the seed is, plant it twice the size of that depth. So we're going to cover that right there. Now, cover them just a little bit. What you want to do now is just kind of mist them in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether they have light or darkness. You know, there's some plants out there that like darkness to germinate, some that like light. We have some herb seed that has to have light, some flower seeds that have to have light.
Yeah, there are some flower seeds that have to have light. Indeed.
Which is Lithianthus.
Lithianthus does have to have light to germinate.
Yep. This is really not finicky. These things are easy to germinate. Just keep them misted right here. Normally, if you got a germination mat, I probably wouldn't use it this time of year, being outside is kind of warm. The temperatures that we got outside right now is perfect for this. Right? If you're doing it inside, you may want to put them on a heat mat and get it up to about 80 degrees. Yep. And then in a few days, they're going to be popped up there. Now, you're going to have to go in there and kind of pull these out when it's time to transplant them in your garden. Yep. And you're going to lose some of that root system.
And that's okay.
That's all right.
It happens.
The other option is your 338 tray right there. So plant them like that. Now, read my notes here. I think Mama Hoss did my notes the other day. Yep. All right. As soon as those plants come up, we got to get them in light because they'll get, as Evan says, they'll get stretchy.
Stretchy, leggy, however you want to call it. They will.
So you want to get them under grow light or have them outside in some natural sunlight. Now, onions, unlike what most people think, are heavy feeders. So you want to start fertilizing these just as soon as you get a good stretched out leaf on the top there. You want to start with a good fertility program. I talked to a grower the other day, commercial grower the other day, and he said this right here. He said, feed them all the way through. He feeds them just about every watering, a light feeding all the way through the growing process there.
And that gives you a strong root system and it gives you a strong leaf system?
It does. They're heavy feeders than most people think
they are.
So one thing also is cutting them back. You got to have you some good sharp scissors, and every time these things sprued up about like that right there, you want to go in there and cut about halfway off. And the reason for that is you want to stress that plant to bulb up.
Okay.
Now the commercial greenhouse, and I think you may have seen this before.
I have. The lawn mowers. It blew my mind when I saw it. I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, they used it on tobacco too, but they have these lawnmowers on these rails. They go to Walmart or wherever and buy a push lawnmower and put it up on a rail and rail it over so they do the mowing. But you got to cut these things back. You got to keep them stressed out. Every time they shoot back up, cut them back. Cut them back pretty regular. And what that's just going to stress and make that bulb get a little bit bigger. Even the 338 trays, you want to do that. You want to cut them back there. Keep them fertilized well. You asked me earlier about disease.
I did.
I've never had a disease problem with onions growing starts. The only disease problem I got is later on when we're growing them in the field, the blight.
The blight does get bad, and we saw some of that last year. Yeah.
Blight's just a normal thing for where we live down here. Yeah. These things do extremely well. Easy to grow, so if you've never grown your onions before, pick out a variety. I think later this week I'll do a video on the different types of short day onions and grow them out. Easy. If you got 338 tray or you want to grow a lot of onions, 338 tray, but don't let that stop you, folks. If you just got a good deep tray, got to have holes in it so it drains here. Just plant some onions, raised bed, container, anything. Your biggest enemy in onion plants is weeds.
And that's a problem when direct seeding, right?
It's a problem with onions. That's the reason we don't direct seed onions here in the South.
Yeah.
Now, I got a friend of mine that's a big onion farmer in Colorado, and me and another guy made a trip out there about 3 months ago. They direct seed all their onions out there.
Do they really?
Well, I say 90% of their onions they direct seed. And I had a conversation Saturday morning with a big grower in Oregon. They grow a lot of onions in Oregon.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. A lot.
A lot of long day?
A lot of long day. And I asked him, they direct seed all theirs.
Wow, that's interesting because
the reason they do is they don't have a weed problem.
They don't have a weed problem.
See, they don't get rain like what we do out there, so they have to irrigate everything. All the water comes off the mountains, and they have to irrigate in.
Okay.
We here in the South, weeds are your biggest enemy on onions. When we grow them in the field for our transplants, we have to fumigate for weeds. Yeah. So that's the reason you want to be real careful. Do not plant these in a raised bed that you got a problem with weeds, because you're going to have an issue there. And that's the reason the home gardener can't plant these things in ground and grow your transplants out, is because of weeds. We want to grow these things from transplants, and it gives us a big head start on the weeds there.
It does.
All right, there we have it. No problem. Growing onion plants, you should grow your own. And look here, if you fail, no big deal. We're going to have transplants November all the way through May to cover you there. So grow your own.
Yep, grow your own.
Grow your own. All right, so we got garden spotlight of the week. And man, we got a garden here today.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, let me get over here to my, and I ain't got my glasses. Oh, there they are.
Yeah, they are.
Let me have them glasses. It's terrible to get old and can't see. You know, you didn't have to use them all the time. I about have to use them all the time now. All right, spotlight is from Kathie. You pronounce her last name, because you know how I am with names.
Kathie.
Macron?
Mctyre.
Mctyre, that's good. That's good, Ed. All right, so she grew Seminole corn, Halcinator tomatoes, Shelby tomatoes, Cherokee carbon tomatoes. Sounds like she did exactly what I did. Look at these pictures right here.
She got almost the exact lineup we had.
Cucumbers and Hass jalapenos. Man, what a garden.
Yeah, beautiful. And I like the use of buckets. I like how she used buckets to grow.
She did here.
She trellised them up.
Yeah,
Look at that.
tubs.
Yeah.
You know, I've never done cucumbers like that for a small garden. That's an ideal way to do it. Right
Save
there.
you some space.
Yep. And then she's got her scarecrow in the garden.
Yeah. Protecting that corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. Thank you, Kathie.
Yep, thank you.
Up in Alabama, Zone 8A. All right, now old goat drawing this week. If you find the old goat on the set here somewhere, put in the comments below, and next week we'll do a drawing. Last week's winner, finding the old goat, is KeithLittleAlabama. Keith is our buddy over in Alabama here. We like old Keith, good friend of ours. Keith, you won the old bobblehead Farmer Greg sighting, and Keith, we're gonna send you a set of Get Dirty socks too.
And who don't love those?
Who doesn't
How
love
can you
these?
not love those?
Send us your information. Well, Keith, we probably got it, but just send it to us anyway to support@growhouse.com, and you'll be the talk of the town, Keith. All right, folks. So Mama Hoss wasn't here today to move the bobblehead around,
She wasn't.
but she gave instructions to Carrie, and Carrie moved it. And Carrie is an overachiever.
Yeah, she is.
She did a really good job. So you're gonna have a really hard time, y'all, because it took me and you a little bit to find him.
Yep, I was looking.
He's
for it.
here. He's here. But you really gonna have to dig down to find him, because she loves to make things difficult, and she did today as well. All right, there we have it. We got to get outside. We got a lot to
We
get
do.
done. We still
It's
get
getting cool outside.
We run behind. We got our peas
We
and beans.
we
planted.
are running a little behind schedule.
Yep.
But we're getting there. We're working on it. This cool weather's rolling around. It's getting a little easier to get out there in the garden. We'll get it done.
We got a lot of stuff in the greenhouse.
We do have a lot of stuff going in the greenhouse right now.
Next week, folks, we will be shipping blueberries, blackberries. Now, we're going to take Monday off, but as of Tuesday, we're going to be shipping blueberries, blackberries, and we're going to have all our brassicas that we have available for pre-sale. They're going to be shipping starting next week. So if you hadn't grown your plugs out and you want to grow some broccoli and cauliflower, collards, things like that, we're going to have plugs available all the way through to the 1st of November. So you just place your order whenever you want to, and we'll ship in the month you want them. And then we've got the blueberries and blackberries.
Yep. So I'm excited for
A
that.
lot of things going on. Thank you for joining us. Now it's time for you to get outside and get dirty.